Welcome to OMNIVERSITY, our podcast. I'm podcaster for OMNIVERSITY, Alfred Lambermont Weber. And the OMNIVERSITY podcast is about providing you with ongoing courses in exopolitics, sciences, exosciences, spiritual sciences, artificial intelligence. So for these ongoing courses, tune in on Spotify to our daily free course. It's as easy as that at OMNIVERSITY. Now, our first course will be about the positive timeline that Earth is on. And the context of the positive timeline will be the November 2024 US election and the peaceful transfer of power over to a positive timeline and first woman president in the 250-year plus history of the United States of America. And to give you that context, we're going to be devoting a course on how we're on a positive timeline now and how the shadows of darkness are trying to convince people otherwise, and how they will recede into oblivion with this election. So just follow along here. Our daily podcast is between 30 and 60 minutes in length, and it's free, so you can follow along as you wish. So our first podcast in this course is going to address what we know about the positive timeline. And I'm going to go to a screen share here so that you can follow along and read along with this, creating a positive timeline. And time science shows that our Earth is on a positive timeline in our time-space hologram. So this is the overall context for the timeline that we're on. This is the timeline. And the preface is, it's time science, not rocket science, that Earth is on a positive timeline. Positive future equals positive timeline plus unity consciousness. A key discovery promulgated in this paper is that a crucial mass of humanity is co-creating a positive future through conscious acknowledgement that we are synergistically traveling along a positive timeline in unity consciousness. The positive future equation has supplanted and overcome an outdated matrix elite formula that is no longer effective, and that over that outdated elite formula was problem plus reaction equals solution. And the positive future equation is positive future equals positive timeline plus unity consciousness. Unity consciousness is a consciousness that we are one. Everything, the earth, the universe, all humanity, the consciousness of humanity is we're all one. Unity consciousness is the opposite of duality consciousness, which is I win, you lose. There's a lot of earth now that is trying to hold on to power, that is creating wars, is creating suffering, is trying to win the US election, that is into duality consciousness, that is I win, you lose, instead of unity consciousness, and that is that we are one. The positive future equation suggests that in the synergy between the positive timeline and unity consciousness, a critical mass of humanity is collectively and individually activated for some or more of these suggestive actions and policies for a positive future. And synchronistically, resources and actors are brought together in multidimensional universe processes to manifest a desirable result. The positive paradox. The positive paradox or progress paradox of our current era is that although our Earth dimension is on a positive timeline, Earth's current bloodline elites, negative dimensional elites, matrix institutions, governmental forms, religions, central banks, and war and addiction industries are acting out operational plans that seem to be based on a false negative timeline or on an actual catastrophic timeline that is occurring in some other dimensional timeline than the positive timeline Earth is demonstrably on. Although humanity has every objective reason to be optimistic about the future, large segments of humanity still reflect this matrix power focused on a false catastrophic timeline. According to an April 14th, 2014 Ipsos survey in the West, 42% versus 34% people feel pessimistic about the future, despite the objective scientific reality that humanity is on a positive timeline. China, India, Brazil, Turkey, and Russia are more optimistic than pessimistic for their young, but all other countries are more likely to think things will be worse than better. Yet time science demonstrates that our Earth civilization is traveling on a positive timeline within our time-space hologram. And time cosmology analysis demonstrates that unity consciousness, we are one, is the dominant universal consciousness frequency broadcast as of December 21st, 2012, through the Singularity Interdimensional Portal at the core of the specific universe in which we are based. Catastrophic duality consciousness, I win, you lose, fostered by these matrix elites, negative dimensional entities, and matrix institutions can no longer control and thrive on our current positive timeline as a matter of density and dimensional frequency and time science. Duality consciousness is service to self and cannot survive in our new universe consciousness and density frequencies. It is now time for the positive timeline to be acknowledged as a scientific reality and for our individual and collective to transform consciously as a critical mass of ethical humans awaken to the reality of the positive timeline. Positive timeline in synergy with unity consciousness. If you resonate with a positive timeline in synergy with unity consciousness, you're encouraged to share these insights with others privately and publicly, with your family, friends, and networks. Together, we can build that critical mass of awakened humanity that acknowledges and collectively shifts to being in a reality of positive timeline unity consciousness. We are one as the new norm. All you have to do, and all we have to do, is change our minds, and the positive timeline follows as a matter of science. Time-space hologram and timelines. One of the early key discoveries of time science is that our own universe of time, space, energy, and matter contains and is composed of time-space holograms and may be considered itself a time-space hologram, created by higher intelligence and composed of parallel timelines. Our universe includes a time-space hologram within which our Earth human civilization exists, that is, an artificial environment created by higher intelligence. The higher intelligence that created and maintains our universe, including the time-space hologram that we inhabit, is the spiritual dimension that itself is composed of God and the intelligent civilization of spiritual beings in quote, simulations backup theory that universe is a hologram. A 10-dimensional theory of gravity makes the same predictions as standard quantum physics in fewer dimension, Ron Cowan facts. At a black hole, Albert Einstein's theory of gravity apparently clashes with quantum physics, but that conflict could be solved if the universe were a holographic projection. The time-space hologram we inhabit as earthly humans is composed of multiple timelines. Time travel and teleportation are methods by which intelligent civilizations navigate the dimensional ecology of both exopolitical dimensions, the multiverse, and the spiritual dimensions of the omniverse. Teleportation consists of point-to-point movement across a single timeline. Time travel consists of movement across more than one timeline. Timelines equal parallel lanes in a multi-lane highway. Humanity is based inside a virtual reality composed of multiple parallel timelines. In simple 3D, third density terms, one can visualize timelines in a time-space hologram as parallel lanes on a multi-lane highway. As a collective consciousness, humanity can find itself on a changed timeline from a more catastrophic lane, global coastal flooding event, for example, to a more positive lane, landing a utopia on Earth. Catastrophic timelines, lanes on a highway, that may have been foreseen through technological time travel, chronovision, scientific remote viewing, or psychic remote viewing can fail to materialize as humanity finds itself on a positive timeline. Origins of the false catastrophic timeline. This paper addresses a recent Italian magazine article that misrepresented my, Alfred Weber's, views on the positive timeline. The magazine invited me to publish a response. The title of the Italian magazine article was Alfred Weber, the global disasters that are affecting the planet are the effects of Kill Zone Planet X. Thankfully, the Italian magazines has published my response paper on creating a positive future. Creare un futuro positivo. La ciencia sostiene che la nostra Tierra si trova in un momento positivo del nostro ologramma spazio-temporale. Edgar Cayce, Remote Viewing of 21st Century Global Coastal Event. The Italian March 8, 2014 article relies on my 1974 book, The Age of Cataclysm, that was a first book to integrate modern Earth sciences with parapsychology and analyze the remote viewing predictions of psychic Edgar Cayce of a global coastal flooding event occurring on Earth early in our 21st century. A global coastal event may be triggered by a variety of astronomical events causing massive tsunamis and earth changes, having catastrophic effects on human civilizations, such as the global coastal event destroying Earth's great maritime civilization, Atlantis, caused by the solar system catastrophe of 9500 BC, when a fragment of the supernova Vela entered the solar system. 2010 Farsight military-trained remote viewers predicted the global coastal event of June 2013. In the course of research on potential impending transitional changes during the 2012 to 13 time horizon, I identified in 2010 what can be described as two parallel realities, each buttressed by independent sets of data and personal and institutional decisions. A 2012 to 13 catastrophic timeline and a 2012 to 13 positive future timeline. There are two 2012 to 13 timelines which were quite opposite in nature. The cataclysmic timeline envisioned a 2012 to 13 as a timeline when Earth is hit by destructive solar flares, large meteors, tsunamis, worldwide coastal inundations, mega catastrophe. This was congruent with the Edgar Cayce remote viewed global coastal events, as well as hermeneutic interpretation of prophecies of Earth changes. As evidence of a possible 2012 to 13 catastrophic timeline, researcher Dr. Courtney Brown pointed to the results of a recent Farsight Institute remote viewing study of global climate change 2008 to 2013, expecting to find marginal effects of global change, climate change in coastal areas in 2013. Dr. Brown reported instead, remote viewers found a catastrophic 2013 timeline and a global coastal event for June 2013 that devastated global coastal cities with the US Capitol in Washington, D.C. underwater. 1971 chronovisor probe of Washington, D.C., 2013 global coastal event, U.S. Supreme Court building under 100 feet of brackish water. In a remarkable coincidence or synchronicity, both the Farsight Institute and a chronovisor probe in the early 1970s by DARPA's Project Pegasus chose archetypal targets in Washington, D.C., right across the street from each other. Project Pegasus chose to view the U.S. Supreme Court building in 2013 via chronovisor, and Project Pegasus participant and whistleblower Andrew D. Bishago found that the Supreme Court building was under 100 feet of stagnant water in a chronovisor probe. U.S. chrononaut Andrew D. Bishago adds, there were second, third, and fourth dimensional chronovisors. I went to Washington, D.C. in 2013 bodily. They poured water out of my boots. That particular chronovisor was not a screen or a template. It was a cube of light in the nature of a time-space hologram that enveloped us, with the result that we physically went to the time place that they had tuned in. The chronovisor was originally developed by two Vatican scientists in conjunction with Enrico Fermi and later refined by DARPA scientists. The 2010 Farsight Institute probe targeted the U.S. Capitol building in 2013, and some remote viewer reports viewed the U.S. Capitol in ruins alongside deep water. Predicted 2013 global coastal event occurred along another catastrophic timeline dimension. The June 2013 global coastal event, predicted by Edgar Casey remote viewing, 1971 DARPA chronovisor probe, 2010 Farsight Institute probe, in fact occurred in another timeline dimension, according to Dr. Courtney Brown, director of the Farsight Institute. In a video update, Dr. Brown concludes that a 15 February 2013 meteor event over Russia, the largest since the Tunguska event, coupled with the close approach of a roughly 15-meter asteroid, 2012 DA14, that occurred about 15 hours later, may constitute the meteor or asteroid event referenced in the Farsight Institute study, which predicted a global coastal event destroying most coastal cities on the planet in June 2013. Dr. Brown states he does not expect any other meteor or coastal events between February 16, 2013 and June 1st, 2013, based on the Farsight study. Dr. Brown refers to the holographic nature of reality and to his remote viewers having possibly viewed a global coastal event happening in June 2013 on Earth in some other timeline or holographic version of Earth or parallel universe. Planet X and the catastrophic timeline. Some have speculated that a Planet X Nibiru, or second sun, flyby would be responsible for the June 2013 global coastal event predicted by the Farsight Institute study. Dr. Brown's interim update appears to suggest that Dr. Brown does not suggest any other meteor or coastal event between February 16th, 2013 and June 1st, 2013. and that the Fartheit Institute report states that no global coastal event caused by Planet X can be expected through June 1st, 2013. Why the global coastal event DARPA foresaw did not materialize. U.S. chrononaut Andrew D. Basiago writes that the 1971 DARPA probe was actually to an alternative catastrophic timeline. He states, "We are now starting to discover why the global coastal flooding event that I saw when DARPA sent me to 2013 via Chronovisor in 1971 did not eventuate on this timeline. NASA is now reporting in 2012 a solar flare almost destroyed Earth. According to my source, to the secret U.S. agency, the Department of Physicists had the large solar flare occur 6 to 7 days before it did, when the Earth was 1 degree of tilt in another position, it would have wreaked havoc on Earth. Apparently, the probe I was involved in at ITT Defense Communications in Nutley, New Jersey on November 5th, 1971, for the Office of Naval Intelligence, took us to an alternate timeline where the devastating effects of such an event in 2012 were evident in 2013, including Washington, D.C. being under 100 feet underwater. Dr. Courtney Brown's February 16, 2013 interim update on the Fulbright Institute report and Andrew D. Basiago's conclusions regarding DARPA's 1971 Chronovisor probe of 2013 appear both to conclude that the respective catastrophic timelines viewed in each study are not the actual non-catastrophic timelines that Earth is actually experiencing in 2013. The false catastrophic timeline and false flag operations. As stated, matrix elites, negative dimensional entities, and matrix institutions, governmental forms, banks, religions, appear to be operating from one, duality consciousness, I win, you lose, and to create a false catastrophic timeline, and thus attempt to maintain hegemony over Earth and humanity. Using the primary playbook of the false flag operation, the matrix powers appeared to be employing an end time script, ecocide and depopulation through weather warfare, tectonic warfare, biowarfare, Ebola, GMOs, chemtrails, famine, World War III memes, negative dimensional warfare, religious warfare, pandemics, other means. These efforts cannot find a stable dimensional reality among the positive timeline and have an increasingly short shelf life in the minds of a humanity that is now bathed in the universe, galactic, and solar waves of unity consciousness. The positive timeline and unity consciousness. In 2012 to 13, Dr. Carl Joseph Kalaman, an expert in the Mayan concepts of time and cosmology, stated in an interview with me, Alfred Lamont Weber, quote, "The universal alternative energy wave movements and Earth is set on a gradual setting of a potential to reach advanced utopian planet status a virtual Garden of Eden. Dr. Kalaman writes, the positive timeline envisions 2012 to 13 and the years that follow as, quote, 2012 heralds Earth's entry into the golden age, and between now and then is a time of transition from life as you have known it to life continually in harmony with all of nature. Universe singularity is now emanating energy for enlightened unity consciousness. According to Mayan time and cosmology expert, Dr. Carl Johan Kalaman, October 28th, 2011, marked a portal in linear time when the singularity interdimensional portal at the core of our universe began to emanate a constant, enlightened, universal consciousness. Unity consciousness is a consciousness that realizes, quote, we are one. Likewise, the interdimensional portal or singularity at the center of our galaxy, our galactic center black hole, modulates this universe consciousness energy wave as well. That is, by any standard, exceedingly good scientific news. Universal alternating energy wave movements have been a feature of our universe, says Dr. Carl Johan Kalaman, since the Big Bang, and it is these wave movements that have shaped the nature of consciousness in our universe over the past 11 billion years. What, you may ask, does this universal wave of unity consciousness have to do with you or your reality? In a word, everything. The wave of unity consciousness, like all universe energy wave emanations, creates the meme or story content of our personal and collective reality. Dr. Kalaman's discoveries are suggesting that our highest thoughts and memes may in fact be sourced from energy waves of universe singularity mediated through the galactic singularity, the black hole at the center of our galaxy, the Mayans called Unabku. The singularity of our solar system is Sol, the sun, the dimensional portal to other galaxies, according to physicist Nasib Haramein. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink here. These universe singularity energy waves serve as carrier waves of the universe's mind and spirit software. The way that the intentional universe, some call it source, the sea of light, or God, lets us know of its intention for consciousness in the entire universe. As a practical matter, does it matter if you are tuned in and commit to universal consciousness, universal energy wave of unity consciousness? Yes. The universe energy waves we humans tune in and commit to determine our planetary status and how we reach our potential as a planet. Positive timeline. Earth will be a utopia, not a dystopia. Or the good news is that our universe singularity is now emanating utopia consciousness waves on its alternating energy carrier waves. The more we humans are individually and collectively tuned into the universal energy wave of enlightened universal consciousness and committed to achieving unity, non-dualistic consciousness, then the stronger the positive timeline becomes, and the more rapidly we achieve our potential as a planet, the potential to reach advanced utopian planet status. The positive paradox. The positive paradox is, although the Earth is objectively and scientifically on a positive timeline in a field of unity consciousness, the more humanity as a critical mass fully internalize and acknowledge this reality, the more it manifests. The term conscious is used in unity consciousness to emphasize how important individual commitment to achieving unity consciousness is. One psychiatrist professor I know stated, quote, "Humans are Velcro for the negative and Teflon for the positive. Because avoiding the negative was so important in our evolution, avoiding getting eaten in the jungle, our brains tend to remember the negative and forget the positive." Wow, end of quote. Unity consciousness can be expressed in the simple realization, quote, "You and I are not we, but one." Dr. Kalaman writes, quote, "To begin with, for all that we know, it is designed to bring a shift to unity consciousness where the human being, the human mind no longer will be dominated by any dark filter. We will, in other words, become transparent and believe this is the particular consciousness, seeing reality the way it is with no separation that so many are waiting for, not just any consciousness, but one that transcends the dualities of the past and aids the human beings to see the unity of all things. The reason that this kind of unity consciousness can be beneficial to the planet and to mankind is that it is one that leads to the transcendence of all separation between man and woman, man and nature, ruler and ruled, east and west, etc. I feel that without the manifestation of such a shift in consciousness, the world will sooner or later come to an end. Dr. Kalaman continues, quote, "People with a dualistic and separating consciousness are somewhat like cancer cells in the body of the earth, with little regard to its larger whole, and would eventually generate the collapse of its ecosystem. Only a shift to unity consciousness will forever stop the unchecked exploitation of the earth on a deeper level and make us understand that we are part of creation and need to live in harmony with it. But will such a shift just happen automatically, creating a positive future? And so that is why we are here in the OMNIVERSITY podcast. And now at 40 minutes, we are concluding today's OMNIVERSITY podcast. And we urge you to listen to it again and to join us tomorrow. God bless us all in positivity. Thank you.